Welcome back to Your Palm Beach Guide, the official podcast of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Kiana Rivera. Today, we're talking about something that has become such an important part of the way we live, work, and even build here in Palm Beach: technology. Joining me today is Paul Biava, President and Managing Partner of ETC Florida, one of Florida's leading technology integration and automation companies. ETC has been a part of our community for nearly 4 decades, helping homeowners and businesses integrate everything from lighting, entertainment, and connectivity to security, monitoring, and complete home automation. But what I find especially interesting about ETC is that the technology itself is only part of the story. Their entire philosophy is centered around making incredible, sophisticated technology feel simple and intuitive for the person actually using it. Paul, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to Your Palm Beach Guide. Before we go further, I want to take a moment to talk about the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, the organization behind everything you're hearing today. If you've been thinking about joining, or if you're already a member and you want to make sure the right people in your network know what's available to them, I want you to hear this directly. The Palm Beach Chamber is not a networking group. It's a strategic community. When you become a member, you're not just getting a listing in a directory. You're gaining access to a curated network of Palm Beach's most respected business leaders, executives, and community influencers. You're gaining visibility through premium touch points, including the Palm Beach Guide. You're gaining a seat at the table at invitation-only events, roundtables, and signature galas that define the social and business calendar of this island. Membership is designed for businesses and professionals who understand that in Palm Beach, relationships are currency, and the Chamber is where those relationships are built and maintained with intention. If you're ready to invest in your presence in this community, I'd love to hear from you. Visit us at palmbeachchamber.com or reach out to our team directly. We'd be honored to welcome you. Paul, welcome to Your Palm Beach Guide.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to just hear more about your story, everything about ETC. But before we jump into the company stuff, tell me a little bit about how you got to South Florida and what ultimately led you to Palm Beach County.
Sure. It's a long journey, but the real thing was I was working for Comcast at the time. I used to be the vice president of operations for all of Comcast in Philadelphia. And then my boss moved down here to Florida to run the whole state. And so she asked me to come down with her, and so I did about 14 years ago. So that's what got me to Florida the second time. The first time, I was an entrepreneur maybe 30 years ago. I had a business that I started in Philly as well. And we acquired a company in Clearwater. And I came down to run that business, and I ended up staying in Florida for 10 years. So really, I'm almost a native.
You've been here, yeah. You've been here a long time.
I've been here for a long time, yeah.
So does that mean you're an Eagles fan?
I am an Eagles fan, yes,
my goodness.
absolutely.
We can't be friends.
Oh,
I'm a Steelers fan.
Well, then thank you for your time.
Right, exactly. So at what point in your career did you switch from Comcast to then, you said the entrepreneurial space, but now to ETC? And you've been with ETC now for a while, right?
Yes, actually, I bought ETC in 2017. Okay. So right around 5 years after I moved to Florida with Comcast, it was just time for something new. Mm-hmm. I'd been doing the corporate world for about 12 years, 15 years. And as I said, I had started as an entrepreneur and then went into corporate and then thought I wanted to get back into it. So I started looking at opportunities in the area. We loved Florida. My kids were young. We wanted to stay here. And so I just was lucky enough. My neighbor knew the previous owner of ETC, and we started having conversations about, maybe me going to work for him initially, and it turned into me buying the company outright.
Wow, that's incredible. And so now you're president and managing partner over the whole space.
Yes.
And how many team members do you have?
So we're currently at 55.
Okay.
So 55 team members, both back office staff, and we have about 30 installation and service technicians.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So for people who have heard, if this is their first time hearing about ETC, how would you describe what you do?
So we try to bring technology to the masses. We bring technology to you in a way that's easy to work with and that you can, appreciate and that you can help for your home or your business, right? Mm-hmm. Technology is so many different things, whether that's audio, video stuff like just a beautiful TV, security systems that protect your home, camera systems. We do all your wireless networks and Wi-Fi networks. I call that the heartbeat of the house now, because if you don't have a good internet, it
You're
could be
done.
problematic.
You're done at that
Exactly.
point. Lots of fights
Lots
happen.
of too many fights. This isn't streaming. This isn't working. So
Right.
we do a lot with networks. We do security services as well, and lighting. We install all types of lighting control as well as lighting fixtures. So really broad based. Anything to do with low voltage and technology, we can try to incorporate into your home.
Sweet. That's amazing to hear. Now, when you talk about some of your keywords in your business are wow, the wow factor and the amaze factor. And so if you have a client who's coming to you, what does that specifically look like in practice in their home? Like, are they able to walk into their house and turn their lights on with their phone? Or like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it runs the gamut, right?
Yeah.
So, our catch line is wow and amaze. And what we want is for a client to go into their home and not see the technology, but interact with it seamlessly. So you have a great example there. When you come into the house, you may want to just say lights on. And so we have the ability to do that. You may want to touch a button on a touch panel that does that for you. You may want to do it on your phone. It all depends on how you want to interact with your technology. We can do that. And we can also even set it up so that you go through a sensor and a certain piece of your house turns on as you progress through the house. So it could actually follow you as you go, like you'll see in a movie. I say we like to do all these things that are kind of fun to do in the house, and we make it easy for you to work with them.
What does it look like when you're building this into the home? Because a lot of Florida homes are still, pretty dated and pretty old. So like we're in this kind of resurgence right now where homes are being remodeled or you're going into a brand new home. What does it look like if somebody has had a home for 30 or 40 years, that's just your bare bones Florida house? How are you able to come in and help integrate that?
Yeah, it's a great question, because so many times, you buy a beautiful home, but the technology's old or the switching is old. All our systems can be retrofitted. And, in some cases, I actually have a team of technicians that do the pre-wire work and that can actually go into the walls, cut through the walls and then patch them up. We do all that type of work for you. So, but the good news is with wireless technology, much of this, you don't have to do anything. Like you just have to install it correctly. Again, the network that we talked about earlier, we like putting in the best network that we can, so that if we do a big wireless installation, it helps you be able to support all the different types of technology that we're putting in. That's for an existing home. For a new home, we'll work with builders, architects, interior designers early on in the process to tuck the technology behind the scenes so that the design aesthetic doesn't get ruined, but then also to wire the house completely for future proofing. So we'll wire with fiber optics, capacity that we don't even use now, but that in the future you're going to need that type of capacity so that our clients can always have access to it when they need it.
So when you start with the conversation with a client, and is it typically, a brand new home buyer or even a seasoned home buyer comes through and they're like, we want to upgrade our house a little bit, but where does the conversation start for you if you're going after new clients or clients are coming to you?
Yeah, I think we've really tried to pull back, because I think there's a tendency in our industry to talk technology and talk, gadgets and whiz and whack, all these different things.
All of it.
We really spend a lot of time talking to the client about how they use their home. And so, Florida is second homes for many people, although now we're getting a lot of, transplants that are living here. But we usually try to see, like, well, how have you used technology in the past? Like, what do you have in your current home? Like, do you like Sonos? Do you like super high-end equipment? Do you like stuff that, from your lighting system, do you use Lutron? Do you use Crestron or Control4 for control systems? Like, have you ever had that? If you haven't, then it's about, well, what do you do with your day? Like, do you work from home? Are you usually coming home? Do you have a lot of kids at home? Do you need a lot of capacity when it comes to the internet? And from those conversations about lifestyle, we build solutions that fit that lifestyle. So it's less about saying, what TV do you want? I mean, there's hundreds of them, and they're all, some of them are great, some of them are better, but it's really, how do you live your life and how do you want your home to interact with you, right? So it's one of those conversations about lifestyle and how do you do it. Same thing with your business.
Right.
Like when you come into your business, do you want everything automated? Do you want to just have a report at the end of the day that says these were the people that were interacting, different things? Like all those different components, we just need to understand what you're looking for. That's the beauty of technology. And with, the company's been around 40 years. So I have employees that actually started there, right?
No
so
way.
they've been around there from the very beginning. So there's a knowledge base as to how technology has evolved in Palm Beach and just in general that we can help kind of bridge the gap for you, And so if you don't have any idea, well, then that's where we come in as well as the experts. We can do the recommendations. We can tell you kind of this is the right way to build your house to be able to take advantage of technology and have it incorporated into your home.
And I love how you mentioned that you're working with your builders and architects and interior designers. So when that conversation starts to happen, do you have those relationships already with those partners that bring you in and they say, they talk to the client who reached out to them originally, and they're like, oh, well, you should have a conversation with our friend Paul here to see if this is something you're interested in.
Totally. That totally is one way, right?
Yeah.
So, we do have a series of builders, and again, being in the market for so long, we've worked with almost every one of them.
Right.
So we do have a series of contacts and relationships there, but we're always looking. There's a lot of new builders that are coming in, right? New designers, people who design that aren't even based in Florida. They're based in New York or Chicago. So we're always looking to build those relationships. In that scenario, it's about introducing us, talking about our history. We have certain certifications from, third-party industry experts that validate that we have the insurance, the, security, the financial wherewithal, the right clients. So they've validated us kind of like a triple, a Michelin 5-star, right?
Yeah.
So with that, we have to sell kind of our ability to be able to do it better than others. There's a lot of companies in the market here because Palm Beach is such a good market that compete with us, very quality people. We believe our combination of kind of our experience, the way that we approach it from a lifestyle perspective, and the quality of the work that we've done and the awards that we've won kind of prove, we're the best solution. So that's what we have to talk to them about.
For when you go, do you have to go in front of town council when you're working on like homes on the island and stuff, like to go to ARCOM or anything like that to get approval for stuff? Or does that not, because I know some builders and architects and even interior designers, to do anything on Palm Beach, you have to go in front of ARCOM and town council. So what does that look like for your space? Like, are you a little bit kind of protected because you're more on the tech side, or do you still have to go through that process?
Oh, we're a little more protected.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
oh my
we
gosh.
generally, because we'll be a subcontractor for one of those builders that has to get those approvals.
Yeah.
And because most of our stuff is inside the home, we're not exposed to a lot of the regulations or the restrictions.
Good.
So yeah, we don't have to be there that often, which is always a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, they always. We have a lot of partners who are in that space, and they are always like, if you need to change the color of your door, like you have to get it approved. And I'm like, oh my goodness, sometimes it's a hassle. So what is something that people tend to overlook when they're considering building or renovating and including the tech? I want to take a quick moment to highlight some of what Palm Beach Chamber has coming up. Because membership isn't just about the guide, it's about the full experience of being connected to this community at the highest level. The Chamber hosts some of Palm Beach's most anticipated signature events throughout the year, from our annual awards celebration to our business after hours to roundtables, luncheons, and exclusive member experiences that bring together leaders from across every sector. These aren't just networking events. They are moments, the kind of evenings and gatherings that define relationships and open doors. We also offer programs specifically designed to support your business growth, from leadership development and visibility opportunities to press coverage that puts your brand in front of the right audiences. If you're a member and you haven't been taking full advantage of what's available to you, I want to personally encourage you to reach out to our team. We are here not just to be a strategic partner to your business, not just an annual fee on a spreadsheet, but a true partner. And if you're not a member yet, come find out what you've been missing. Visit palmbeachchamber.com to learn more and start the conversation. That you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's they come to us at the end of the process.
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they don't even think about it, and because you're not thinking about where you're going to put your TV until you've already designed the room and the furniture's there, and you've picked out that beautiful marble, or it's being imported wood from Brazil, wherever it's coming from, right? So what ends up happening is we come in at the 11th hour, and if we would have been there earlier, we would have wired behind the walls. We would have tucked the television away someplace where it won't be seen. Your wireless access points, which you need throughout the house for Wi-Fi, we can tuck them into the roof and hide them. So when people don't bring us in early, then we're left kind of trying to figure out, how do we retro it? Then we got to cut into a beautiful wall, or we have to do something. Of course, we do it, and we work with our builder partners, and it comes out beautiful. But if we can get there early and we can talk to you about, what are you thinking about for this room? Well, let's design this room. I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
You've heard of video walls, right? Very big right
Yeah.
now. And so everybody wants them. A video wall sends out an incredible amount of heat. And so even though it's a flat panel, it requires cooling, and it requires you to make sure you have a room close by to hold all the processing power as well. So all you see on the wall is just this, beautiful flat screen. The problem is behind the scenes, there's a lot of work that has to be done to make sure that it works and it doesn't fail.
Oh, wow.
If I don't have that conversation early, now I'm going to a builder and going, I need you to reroute some HVAC here. I need you to give me some space over here. Generally, there's not. Every ounce, every square foot of space in a home on Palm Beach Island is valuable. So that's why it's so important for us to be able to have that conversation early on and understand how you're going to use the house so that we can work with your builder. And this is what we've done for 40 years, and make sure that it's set up so that it's a win. It's a success.
Yeah. Well, I love that you say that, because a lot of people, like you said, they come in after the fact and then they're like, well, I wanted to do all of these things. And you're kind of like, well, this is what we're given now. But I love that you made the most of that situation. So
yeah, I mean, and the other thing too is just from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
If you have to go in and redo something you've already done, or we've got to break through a wall, be able to get wiring to where it is, it's just going to cost you more, right?
Right.
One conversation with us early on in the process puts us in the discussion, and now you're not doing it as an add-on. You're doing it as this is a thoughtful and thought out process.
Well, and it should be now a part of the whole home process in the first place. It's like
100%.
when you talk about builders and architects and interior designers are all lumped together, now you add in your tech space. So it's like an army of four that is building your home.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
It should be. It should be all of us working together and in unison. Interior designers, they design these beautiful rooms that they're just so comfortable to be in.
Right.
I don't want to have to put a TV against the wall. That changes that aesthetic, right?
Right.
So I can hide it in a lift. I can bring it down from the ceiling. I can bring it behind a wall. Like, we can do all kinds of things given the opportunity to be able to have that discussion.
Right. So as you have navigated just the last 40 years with ETC, you've seen technology change rapidly, especially within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just changed so much. What are you seeing right now in the luxury space for tech in your workspace?
I think lighting is the biggest conversation,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So, for so many years, you had an incandescent bulb, that was it, right? And then we went to the LED lights and, the ones that were last longer. But now we're talking about light that works within your home like the sun. So it changes colors, it dims, it can be set to a mood. You can put color into a space. You might want to do a little bit of an orange in a corner to be able to highlight something. The way you use light to highlight art, the way you use light to, set up a welcoming scene when you come into your home, outdoor lighting, and around, how do you expand your indoor space outdoor? Again, beautiful lighting, with the landscape lighting that you traditionally call. But, we're putting these fixtures in trees as a downlight. We're putting them,
No way.
Absolutely, right? So, and people go, well, why would you do a downlight? And go, well, you want to see the beautiful plants that you've done, right? So you want to downlight it. And then we have, rope lighting that can go underneath the stairs, and we have lighting that goes down your dock all the way to your boat, so that it's all illuminated, and it's all controlled. It's all designed to be able to match the mood and the whole circadian conversation that happens about wellness, and how do you make your home an extension of the outdoors and bring that in? It's been such a transformative space because lighting has been the same for 100 years. And in the past 5, the amount of things and the amount of fixtures that you can find that can do unique lighting scenes and lighting effects, it's just really amazing. So for us, that's been a very exciting piece of it. Even shading, right? Like shades that you now, the room darkening shades, but you also have shades that, let a little bit of sun filter in. Combine that with the lighting systems, they can literally lower and raise without you ever having to touch it, so that your house is always kind of bathed in that comfortable type of lighting. It's really a big change for us from a technology, because, lighting wasn't thought of as a technology solution, and now it truly is. And, we talked a little about video walls and the stuff that's happening in audio, but that's kind of like, you expect that to continue to progress. The surprise for me was, wow, lighting is really a big change, and it's a big luxury item.
It does seem like a luxury item, because you're talking about people who want to create that setting in their home all the time.
Yeah.
It's not just for a special party or an event. It is, I come into my house after work and I want to feel this like calming moment once I walk in. And that's interesting, though, because that's 24/7.
Yeah.
It's like those are constantly changing. And when you're talking about shades that let light in, or even the partial light, like if they want to rise with the sun, if they want to wake up with the sun, and all of those things that are, I feel like, so uniquely Florida as well,
Yeah.
because other places it's so dark or it's, light or whatever it is. And that's just really interesting you say that. And that was the biggest change for you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the video walls a little bit. For those who don't know, what is that, and have you seen a high resurgence in that type of market?
Yeah, so, we've gone from your tube TV to your plasma TV to, micro LEDs. And now these video walls, what they are is really, they're just small LED panels that are usually 2x2, maybe 3x3. They're connected together and they create a seamless video wall, video projection system that you can really make any size that you want or any configuration. So, imagine you have this corner, which has kind of a turn. You could actually take it and just have that continue around the corner because all you're doing is clicking together these little panels. The quality is really good. The brightness is very good. They're very good for bright spaces. And the size is you're unlimited. Televisions I think the largest TV you can buy is about 115 inches, which is massive.
That's so
but,
big.
In some of these homes, you have these beautiful open spaces. You have 30-foot cathedral ceilings.
Right.
You want a statement piece. The video wall is what really is the next evolution. Wow. And so they're technically similar to what a micro LED is, but because they have all this requirement for the heat and the power of the lighting, it takes a little bit extra work, but they're fantastic. They're really spectacular when you see them.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that that's kind of the evolution that we're seeing. Everything just keeps getting bigger and better almost as it seems. I want to get into a little bit more of the tech side for a brief moment and just how your team and your business has utilized AI. If you're working with the light fixtures or you're working with a video wall, like talk to me about how you're integrating AI when you are inputting your work into somebody's home.
Yeah, I think, we're beginning to test the waters with that of how we can make that a client-facing product. What we have done kind of behind the scenes a little bit more is we're using it to help us with budgeting when we're creating budgets for our clients so that we can turn those around a lot faster. We've accessed our database of products and the history of installations that we've done. And we've created a database that AI can go in and say, oh, based on the size of your home, in fact, just based on a picture of your plans, I can come up with a budget that says, look, this is essentially where we think we're going to be, depending on whether you want a good, better, best, right?
Wow.
So it depends on the three. We can do that within an hour. So it doesn't matter the size of the home, et cetera. So using AI to speed that process up, because previously, I'd have to count every outlet. I'd have to make sure I understand how we're going to run all the wiring and everything else. Because we've taught our AI agent how that works, then it's able to give us some of that information. So in the background, we're using it more than I've really seen it jump into the foreground. I know our vendors are spending a lot of energy and time, like how do we use it? How do we incorporate it? But because our job has really been to automate it for you, right? It's almost like we're trying to be, intuitive AI without AI.
Without it,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a funny way to say that. So, are there any technologies that have seemed futuristic for you in the past that are now just a standard for clients? So, like 10 years ago, you'd be like, "Oh, that's so futuristic," and whatever it is. But now it's like, no, that should have been in my house already.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's wireless, right?
Yeah.
So the wireless technology and Wi-Fi. I mean, the fact that you used to have to huddle underneath a Wi-Fi access point, or you'd have to connect a wire to your computer to be able to access the internet.
Yeah.
And now in my home, I get a gig in and out using AT&T and Comcast and different fiber providers. And I can get that with my wireless signal because we have the type of access points that allow you to have that kind of throughput.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. Like the fact that you can access the internet from any location in your home without having to be wired, to me, that's a big change. And I think that's something that you go, how could we not have done that always? Like,
right.
It gives you access to data, it gives you access to all the Internet of Things. So that's the one I would say.
Yeah. Are there, on the other side of that argument too, are there things that people find trendy that you're seeing with your clients that you're like, oh, maybe you should just, like, you caution against it? Or not so much against it, but you're like, maybe think about this and not invest that kind of money in it because it's just a fad or like it's a trend?
Yeah, I think, sometimes when you look at some of the interfaces that you've seen out there, there's for a long time, people would put these big touch panels and they'd install it into the screen. And it reminds me a little bit of like intercom systems, right? Like, okay, you have all this real estate, you've got all this wiring behind the walls, and you've got all these dead intercom systems that nobody uses. These touch panels, I mean, I think that with the advent of iPads and that kind of stuff, the advent of the phone is gotten larger, it's more accessible and everything like that. I don't think there's a need for them as much as there used to be.
Yeah.
We recommend them in certain environments, like in the kitchen, so that you want to control the entire house.
Yeah.
That makes sense,
That
right?
makes sense,
But to put them in every room, and at some point, we used to do a lot of video distribution. And I'll explain that is that we would have all the video sources in one location, and then we would distribute the signal to each one of the televisions in the different rooms. Now, house like in Palm Beach, you could have 10 or 15 televisions, right? And so as opposed to having 10 or 15 Comcast cable boxes in each room, you would have one, or you'd have 5 of them, and you would choose the signal that would go, right?
Yeah.
So that was a solution for a problem that existed then. But now you have Apple TV, Roku, you have all these streaming services that you can put right behind the television that you're using. They're inexpensive, they're easy to connect, and they're easy to work with from the client perspective. It takes away a lot of failure points that you would have if you were using the video distribution, and it's an inexpensive solution that gets you the same type of control. So it's one of those things you go, well, at the time it was the right solution, and maybe it's still the right solution for a specific client need.
Right.
But in general, now you can do it with Apple TV, you can do it with Roku. There's a lot of different ways that you can do the same thing, and that's where technology keeps evolving. Like many of the TVs have all those services built into them as well. Well, you may not need any of that. Like you may just want to be able to, have the TV right at your fingertips. So what we try to do is listen again. It's lifestyle, right? It's how do you use it? Well, we have a third bedroom that nobody ever uses. I don't need to have that on a video distribution network. You don't need to pay to have control over that TV.
Right.
You just have it so that when somebody comes in, they can access their Roku or they can play music on the sound bar, right?
Yeah.
Like it's about listening to how you use the home.
Right. Well, it's true. And that's getting into your client experience, which is what, ETC is all about for the last 40 years. So as we wrap up, I just want to talk to you specifically as a leader because you have 55 employees and you've had employees that have been with you for the duration of the company. And so what would you equate that longevity of your employees to your leadership style? Do you have a leadership style that you just think is something that keeps them there?
Well, I do. When I bought the business, 9 years ago, we established a set of core values that we thought were really important. They're just kind of our ethos of how we try to run the business, and when not only running the business, but how we hire people. And we started communicating that to our team, like this is what ETC is about, right? Service the client above all else, be enthusiastic about what you do, work and act as a team, be creative and be honest and be ethical, right? Like it's 5 basics. It's nothing that big. And a lot of people do that, but they don't back it up. And so we started really having these conversations. We started rewarding on that. We started choosing our core value performer of the month. I do monthly team meetings with all our 55 employees come in. We talk about the progress in the business, good and bad.
Wow.
And we reward them for what they do, right? Like the best thing that I can tell you is the only reason we're successful as a company is the people that work for us. And so I've spent a lot of energy and a lot of time establishing these core values and rewarding our team to make sure that they understand they're appreciated. It's about the simple things. We'll do a barbecue outside, and me and my other leaders will cook some burgers for them.
Right.
We rent out a movie theater and go see a movie once a year to go kind of do a summer blockbuster just to get them out of the heat. Like it's simple things that they appreciate, I think, so much, and that show that we care about them not only as doing the job, but as a person and as a member of our community. And so for the past 4 years, we've been very lucky. We've been voted the best place to work in South Florida.
Nice.
And
Congratulations.
thank you very much by the South Florida Business Journal.
Yes.
It was actually a goal that I had when I bought the business, that I wanted it to be someplace that people wanted to come to work and that enjoyed it. And so, to me, it's about giving back to the employees and trying to make sure that I communicate with them and I'm very upfront. So, during COVID, we had very difficult times. We had to shut down the business for a period of time. I had to ask everyone to take a cut in pay, because it was the only way for us to keep the business alive. And then we were able to get, some of the loans and the support and everything like that. I made everybody whole. And whatever time they were off, we paid them for and all that stuff. And I go, it's that commitment that we have with each other. And so I feel that's built with trust and just being, upfront and honest with our team. So
I love
super
that.
proud of the people that work with us.
Well, people need to adopt your leadership
No,
style
thanks.
because that's incredible. You're just,
Thank
it's a very genuine way to lead. So, and I think that's a testament to your team. So,
Thank you.
as we finish, I like to end every episode with rapid fire.
Okay.
So, just the first
Thanks.
thing that comes to your mind, they're super fun, not super deep. So, are you a coffee or tea person in the morning?
Coffee.
Black or?
Coffee cappuccino, I like.
Okay, nice. Very good. What is your favorite hidden gem in Palm Beach?
I love, it's Blowing Rocks up in Jupiter.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you think you're in some entirely different place.
You really do.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous. What is one book that changed your life?
I'd say it's Traction. It's actually a book that was written on how to run a small business. And it set the strategy of how, as a business leader, I run my business every day. And it's part of something that I read, probably 10 years ago when I bought this business. And I was like, I like the way this is. And it's helped me grow the business from where we were to where we are now, effortlessly. And, it holds us accountable. So,
That's so
it was a
good.
great read.
And last question, what is one piece of advice that you would give your younger self as you navigate life in the workplace?
Don't take it all too seriously, right? Just because it is, it's more about the people that you meet along the way and the experiences that you have, and be humble about it, and realize that you don't do it alone. You do it with other people, and you've got to get their buy-in, and you've got to believe in them too. So
That's so good. Well, Paul, thank you for joining us today.
thank you for having me. This is great.
Paul, thank you so much for joining me. I loved getting to hear not only about the technology behind ETC, but also the people, service, and vision behind the company. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Palm Beach Guide. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being a part of another episode of Your Palm Beach Guide. If you've been loving this podcast, and I hope you have, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and to share this episode with a friend. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue bringing you conversations with the extraordinary people who make this community what it is. The podcast is produced by the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Kiana Rivera, our Chief Advancement Officer. A very special thank you to our partners who make this show possible. Our studio partner, Aura Studios at Echelon Executive Suites, our video production team, Najee Productions, original content and interview development by Kiana Rivera, and until next time, we are your Palm Beach Guide.